Hello everyone, Matt from Model Minutes here, and welcome back to the workbench. Today, just a quick video showing you how to do some very simple chipping with a paintbrush. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So I get asked on occasion, chipping. What is chipping and how do I do it? So one of the very simple ways that I've been doing it recently is with a paintbrush and some aluminium paint. So I'll just show you some of the stuff that I have done with it. So here is my recently constructed P40, and you can see some very subtle chipping there around the wing roots where people have been walking and around some of the panels which the crew have been using. Some of the moving parts as well, those have received some chipping. And on the other side there's just a little bit of chipping there as well. So this is a very simple method. There are other methods out there such as chipping fluids, and there's even a salt method and using a liquid mask to do chipping, but I feel like this is quite an easy way of getting a realistic result. So it doesn't have to be silver, it could be any colour that you want, it could be a different kind of metallic effect, or it could be an undercoat colour from a previous paint layer. So we've got our FW190 here, which I built previously, and all we'll need is a paintbrush with a fairly pointy tip. And we just take our paint, after we've given it a good mix, pop a little bit, we're just talking a tiny amount on the end of our brush, and then we just carefully apply it to the areas we want the chipping to be effective. So you're not painting it, you're just dabbing it on slightly randomly, and you can go bigger in some areas and lighter in others, just around where we think there might be a little bit of chipping. So looks like there's a handhold or a footstep here. So again, brace up your hands and then just add some extra chips around there. And you're going to repeat this all over the aircraft, or wherever you feel that there should be some chipping. I would always suggest doing this chipping before you do any of the extra weathering. I know I've already done the airbrush weathering for the cannons on this one, but I would suggest doing this before you do your airbrushing. If you're doing a weathering with an airbrush, or if you're using pastels or something like that, I would suggest doing this before that weathering step, purely because you can get the weathering to go over the top of your chipping if that's appropriate. So I'm going to put a little bit on here as well. I know there's a cannon bit there. So just a tiny amount in a few random places. It doesn't have to be too uniform. And around the moving surfaces as well. And I'm going to go and do a little bit more on this, and then I will be back with you. So I think that's probably enough on this aircraft, just a subtle hint of chipping. Obviously you can go as insane as you want with this, but one final thing I'm going to do, it's still part of the chipping process, but this is a bit of dry brushing. So we put some paint on our brush and then remove it on a piece of paper towel, or I've just used a bit of card here. And now the paintbrush is effectively dry, and what I'm going to do is just carefully add a little bit of this dried sort of paint to the leading edges of the wings, because they get worn as the aircraft is flying. So just dry brushing there. Could do a little bit on the prop there where the air again meets the edge there. So the brush being almost dry will start to only leave the paint residue on the raised surfaces, the raised details. So you shouldn't get it, and it's not like painting, it's effectively only just getting picked up by the raised details. If we go over the drop tank here, and it's just picking up on those raised areas. Again, on the bottom surfaces of the wing, any raised area is getting a little bit of this metallic effect. So a very subtle technique, but it takes your model from looking flat to looking a bit more realistic, a bit more like it's made out of metal. Obviously try and avoid doing this to areas where there shouldn't be metal. So I wouldn't do this on the tyres, for example, because they're not made of metal, they're made of rubber. Flip over to the other side, repeat a little bit here. Any areas that potentially may be chipped, maybe around the canopy a little bit. And that, I think, is going to be it. So yeah, there it is. That is my FW190 in 1/72 scale, chipped using some very simple techniques, and it's only taken a couple of minutes. And there we go. What do you think of this technique? Is this something that you would consider using on some of your builds in the future? Naturally, I would say make sure you try and get the best quality paint that you can with your budget for this. There are different brands out there, and some of them they're not as pigment dense as the Vallejo paint that I've used here. I quite like the Vallejo Model Air paint because it does give quite a good result. You could also try experimenting with using a sponge or different kinds of brushes, maybe even a toothpick, to try and replicate the results that you wanted. But yeah, let me know down in the comments, what are you going to do with this technique? And also, let me know any other tips and tricks that you'd like to see replicated in a short form video like this. As always, quick shout out to my channel members and patrons for the extra support they give the channel. Massive thanks to these guys on screen. If you'd like to join them, take a look at the links in the description. There are also other ways to help support the channel. And again, full information is in the description box. However, there is a brilliant way you can help support the channel for free, and that is by subscribing and turning your notifications on so you never miss a modelling upload. Finally, the last thing to say is a massive thank you to you for watching this one, and I'll see you on the workbench again next time.